Okay. This is a meeting of the Township Committee, February 1st, 2021. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk all on January 7th, 2021. The notice of the Township Clerk is the Township is holding this meeting pursuant to the rules established under the Open Public Meetings Act for the holding of a virtual public meeting during a declared state of emergency. The meeting is being broadcast live by way of WebEx platform that allows members of the public to participate through their computer or telephone. Written public comments may also be submitted through the clerk's office at 1 Kings Highway, Middletown, New Jersey, or townclerk@middletownnj.org, but will only be read onto the record if received before 9 a.m. the date of the meeting. If you wish to be heard when public comments are permitted for the hearing of an ordinance or during the general public comment portion of the meeting, please use your raise hand feature on the WebEx platform, and I will call upon you one at a time. For those who dialed in via phone only, I will open the floor to the phone comments during the public comment section as well. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record and observe the time limit of 5 minutes unless the comments are part of an ordinance hearing. For more information on this process, please contact the Township Clerk at townclerk@middletownnj.org. This time I'll call roll. We have Committeeman Clark.
Here.
Committeeman Sedembrino.
Here.
Committeewoman Snell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our constitutions, freedoms, and way of life. Thank you. Our first item on today's agenda, we have known action items: introduction of an ordinance 2021-3302, an ordinance authorizing sale of certain property owned by the Township of Middletown not required for public purposes.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedembrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held at our next regular meeting, February 16th, 2021. At this time, I'd like to ask the Township Committee if you'd like to adopt a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 21-60 through 21-71, including firefighter applications.
Heidi, can you pull one moment?
Go ahead.
Can you
Sorry,
pull
go ahead.
21? Can I request you pull 21-63 for a separate vote, please?
Any others? At this time, we would adopt a consent agenda, which would include 21-60 through 21-71, removing 21-63 for a separate vote and including firefighter applications.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark. Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedembrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt consent agenda. At this time, we have Resolution 21-63, a resolution approving shared services agreement with the Borough of Highlands for animal control services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedembrino.
Recuse?
Committeewoman Snell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve Resolution 21-63 with a recusal noted. At this time, we have agenda items for our next meeting, which will include certificates and proclamations, approval of minutes, public hearing of proposed ordinance, introduction of proposed ordinances, and consent agenda. This time we have discussion items. Our first discussion item, Monmouth County Community Rating System Program.
Tony? Tony Mercantante, you want to discuss that first discussion item on the rating system?
Tony's listed in the attendee list, not as a panelist.
Yeah, did Joe Kaczynski sign on?
No.
Oh. Okay, so yeah, this is a shared service that the county has put together that helps us with our community rating system monitoring. And so it's basically it's a system whereby we get a discount from on our flood insurance rates. And there's a lot of kind of like legwork involved at the building department. Well, and Joe Kaczynski primarily has to do. And they put together a shared service so that most of the towns in the county that are part of the CRS program will work through the county to do a lot of the stuff we have to do. And so it will definitely be an efficient program for us to participate in. The county is very anxious to get this going. And it's something we actually talked about last year, but if they just got around to it now to ask the municipalities to join formally. So it's a very simple shared service. I think our participation is just a few $1,000s.
Okay. Recreation fee schedule amendment.
Yeah, that we're going to carry to the 16th.
Okay, that's right. Yep, I remember that. And then I know we have Ted and Vic on here and Sam. Mandatory stormwater management ordinance to address the new regulations set by DEP.
Yeah, so I mean they're going to go into a bit more detail, but just so everyone's aware, a number of years ago the state passed mandatory stormwater management regulations. So most towns have fairly uniform standards for stormwater management design, the design of stormwater management systems. So they've gotten around to updating them now. It's probably 15 or more years ago, I believe, last time they did it. And so, we're required to bring our ordinances up to this new standard. So Sam and Vic and Ted have been working with the Environmental Commission to develop a new set of standards. So they're gonna summarize for you some of the major things that are changing. Just keeping in mind, the vast majority of this stuff is state mandated.
So so thanks, Tony. So these were adopted in 2004, and last year they adopted amended regulations and mandated that all the municipalities in the state adopt ordinances which have to be in effect.
Hey Stan, can I interrupt you for just 1 second?
Sure.
All of our panelists, if you could please just mute your line so that everybody is clear, so that we can all hear Stan clearly. Just if we can all mute our lines just during this discussion item, please. Thank you.
So, all right. So as Tony mentioned, the DEP adopted important changes to the state stormwater management regs, and they have mandated us to adopt revised ordinances, and they have to be in effect by March 3rd. So what we did was I started working on a draft ordinance based upon what the DEP put forth in a model ordinance. In early December, Tony, Ted, Vic, myself met with the Environmental Commission. I wrote the draft ordinance. I gave it to the whole group for comments. And then, I want to give you a brief highlight. So basically, stormwater runoff through parking lots is like a major contributing factor of water pollution, not just in the state, it's like nationwide. We've had issues in the town because of poorly controlled stormwater, dangerous flooding conditions, which have been identified in many neighborhoods in the township that have obsolete, ill-maintained or non-existent stormwater management system. And I think Kevin and Pat know that the issues we've had with the CBA application. So anyway, so the goal of these amendments is to better protect water quality and also through implementation of green infrastructure technology, which is like an attempt to make Jersey more resilient to storm and flood impacts. And the highlight of this entire ordinance, and I think what I gave you guys, gave all of you, was the draft ordinance with what was mandated by the state and the Environmental Commission's comments and what the Township Engineer's Office thought we should add. So green infrastructure is really one of the highlights, and there's a push for that as opposed to traditional engineered structures like you would see 15, 16 years ago, detention basins in the corner of the property. So the goal with green infrastructure, which I think is good and something that Tony, Ted, and I have been talking in the past too, this infrastructure encourages the idea of using stormwater as a resource that can be reused. It's a shift of paradigm. In the past, it was considered waste, and it's no longer that. And what's even interesting is that, to use natural vegetation and soils to filter out pollutants. So it not just protects our environment, but and manages stormwater, but it also beautifies communities. And we all, when you go into this old parking lots with sea of asphalt, it's always hotter than any greener space, even within the township. And it's interesting to note because we had made ShopRite, when Sears site for the redevelopment, we had made them very strongly encouraged them to include rain gardens and swales, which they did. So this was the idea of the township. The three of us, we've been talking about this even before the DEP mandated it. So that's very interesting. So now we actually have an ordinance in place which kind of gives teeth, and we can recommend require people to do this. And the Environmental Commission added definitions, tried to make it give more teeth and more stringent stringency to these regulations. We reviewed all of it and thought that definitions to have adaptive reuse or redevelopment would be a good idea, and it would keep with the philosophy that we wanted to go in the past, especially what we did with ShopRite. Then they also had more stringent standards where they had some additional standards for minor development. So if anyone were to put 250 square feet of pavement or more, then they would have to comply. And we thought it was a bit stringent, but we understand the thought and philosophy behind it, because independent of this ordinance, Vic, Ted, and I, along with Tony, we were talking about having design standards to address dry well requirements for individual single family homes. So we will prepare those, but for this particular section, we've not included, we've tried to not make it that stringent that it's very difficult to have economic development. The rest of the changes in the ordinance have just been modifying the language to reflect the requirements stipulated within the amended regulations. We've removed redundant language and sections that are no longer applicable. One of the most important thing was, and again, going back to the different planning board applications that we've seen, is that there's a constant lack of maintenance And we've added a little bit more stringent language, which allows the township to conduct repairs, but charge the delinquent parties, because we anticipate that with this, it will help us address enforcing and managing the stormwater issues being posed because of defunct homeowner association, and it'll allow us to repair it, but at no cost to the township. There's one of the requirements is DEP approval. I've sent a copy of the draft regulations to the Monmouth County Planning Board, and I'm working with them as well. Their role is more advisory, but I'm ready to take, the three of us are ready to take any questions if you have any.
Well, first of all, before any of the members of the Township Committee discuss this, I do want to thank you, San, Ted, and Vic, as well as Tony Mercantante, our environmental team, because a lot of the changes that are in the works, not only through certain ordinances, but also through our master plan, which we've been working on ahead of schedule, have been to find creative ways, innovative ways, and environmentally conscious ways to not only make or reduce certain water runoff that creates pollution, but also beautifying lots across town. So that's really something that I think that we should all be very excited about, is that we can do that simultaneously without deterring economic development from happening. San, you mentioned ShopRite. It's a perfect example going into the Sears lot. You know, in the current parking lot of the ShopRite, you have very little, if any, type of beautification. It's really just a sea of asphalt. And in the new and improved shopping center, ShopRite shopping center, the old Sears, you are going to see that. So, without the ordinances, it was great that a private company was willing to step up to the plate and do the right things, and work with the township to, be a staple and the first one to jump into this. So I do want to just compliment not only the three of you, Tony Mercantante, but our environmental commission as well, that has had a hand in working to really come up with some, like I said, innovative solutions and ideas to beautify the town. So thank you all. Any questions for San, Ted, or Vic on this?
Hey, Ted or Vic, do one of you want to mention how this is going to impact, your reviews for a lot of our grading and drainage plans?
Yeah, obviously we've been kind of working on our grading plans for residential grading plans for a while, requiring residents or builders at least to recharge stormwater runoff from impervious surfaces into the ground. And now this ordinance, just part of this ordinance, will help us reinforce that, and that will eliminate, hopefully at least chip into the big effort of eliminating flooding downstream in some areas, and also improve water quality, which is always, a concern too. So this gives us a little backing to do that.
Vic, you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I do. Yes. Own stormwater discharge, Tier A municipality requirements with the DEP. You have to keep track of debris in the catch basins, cleaning of outfalls, street sweepings. We keep track of all those records, and also our own detention basins. But the DEP is also looking on us to keep track of private detention basins, retention basins. And in order to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, we can't inspect them all. We're adding to this ordinance that they'll need to certify annually, just like we do, but certify annually to us that they are maintaining their basins. With these large major development projects, is when they get approved, they need to do a maintenance and operation manual anyway, and keep track with logs and record keeping and cleanouts and repairs. So we're asking, as part of the ordinance, that they certify that they were doing that, and that way we have some evidence and proof that they're applying, and we know that we're signing off to the DEP ourselves that we're covered. And if they're not doing what they need to be doing, then we'll know that too.
Perfect. Thank you, Vic. Any questions from the Township Committee on anything? Or Ted, do you want to add anything here? You're on mute, Ted.
I know Heidi's trying to unmute me, and I muted myself again. No, just to reiterate what Vic says, putting that burden back on the property owners of detention basins to do that record keeping is a major assistance to us, because you wouldn't believe the amount of paperwork that the DEP requires of DPW each year to maintain those records of volumes and cubic yards of what we clean out of inlets and what we clean out of detention basins and street sweepings and things like that. So this should be a way. Hopefully this will assist us in cutting down that paperwork, and streamlining a lot of our work. So it's going to be a big help to us.
An important point about this is that, as usual, a lot of things we do sometimes have an immediate effect, but sometimes they're probably going to be things that will benefit people 15 and 20 and 30 years from now. This is kind of one of those things. We're suffering some of the problems of drainage systems that were built 20 and 30 years that are becoming problems, and they're becoming our problem, even though they really shouldn't have been our problem. So this will eliminate that from happening. Well, it'll reduce that from happening in the future, but the biggest benefits will probably be seen, further down the road than most of us will see. But so it's a good thing. So if everyone's good with this, the plan would be that we would introduce an ordinance at the meeting on the 16th, and then schedule a public hearing at the following meeting. So because there's a deadline by which we have to get this in place. So in going through it individually, if you have individual specific things that jump out to you as questions or concerns, reach out directly to San or Ted or me if you want, and we'll get you some answers if you need them.
May I suggest reaching out to the three of us so that way we're all on the same page?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
All right. Any questions from the Township Committee?
Mayor, I'd just like to say great job. This is something that's needed, so thank you all.
Same for me.
All right, perfect.
The research and effort that went in was very impressive. Nice work.
All right. No other questions? All right, Heidi. You're on mute, but I can read your lips. Township Committee comments.
Township Committee comments, yes.
All right, Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Any comments for tonight? Township Committee comments?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still learning that part. The only thing I have is to any of the members of the public listening, make sure the hydrant nearest your house is cleared out. It's important. Those extra couple of minutes that it would take for the fire department to shovel them out when if there happens to be an emergency in your neighborhood is super important. So please, if you could, clear your hydrant.
All right, thank you, Committeeman Clark. Committeewoman Snell. You're on mute, Committeewoman Snell.
Thank you. Our fundraising initiative has begun for the 20th anniversary of 9/11 at the World Trade Center Memorial Gardens through our 501(c). Through donations, our plans are to erect a Rise of Hope fountain, which I hope to have a model of for our next meeting, along with the First Responders Memorial, and we'll also begin repairing the walkway with personalized bricks. And so the public knows you can be a part of this by purchasing an engraved brick, which is totally done online, very easy to do, a street banner or a lawn sign. And there's more information on these 3 things to follow. You can also donate via PayPal to Middletown World Trade Center at gmail.com. And to make it easy, you can always send a check payable to the Middletown WTC Memorial Gardens Fund, care of the Mayor's Office, 1 Kings Highway, Middletown, New Jersey, 07748. And of course, also professional in-kind donations are accepted as well. So we're looking forward to getting this off the ground and getting the public to participate. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful project.
Thank you, Committeewoman Snell. Committeeman Senabrino.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an initial comment. I want to thank Ted and Vic and Public Works Department for doing an excellent job with regard to today's snowstorm. Keep it up. You have more to do. And I would certainly recommend all the residents that are online tonight, please stay off the roads, let the plows and the Public Works continue to do their works to keep our town safe. And thanks, guys, again for a great job on a storm that was actually moved up 1 day. We anticipated this on Tuesday, and it came around on Monday. So hopefully it can leave as early as it got here. Other than that, Mayor, I'll delay the rest of my comments until the public meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Thank you, Mayor. Ted and your crew, amazing job. I'm not sure if you guys heard the plow truck screaming by my house 2 times since I've been sitting here looking at the window. So just an amazing job. I know you got a lot of people working, a lot of roadway to do, 375 miles. Mayor, you said over 5,000 miles were, passed earlier today, right? I think around 10 o'clock or so. But just a great job, especially to all the guys on the road and mechanics working on the stuff that's probably breaking a lot. So a couple other things. The fire department had a major structure fire not too long ago. Amazing job, and they did actually save a life there. So hats off to them once again for doing a fine job. And I know the mayor's going to bring this up, but Andrea Gorsinger, great job. 24 hours on a bike. I did about 21, but she got me. So great job, amazing stuff for children with cancer. So thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just want to echo the comments of my colleagues, Ted Maloney and the DPW crew today. Ted gave me the numbers right before the meeting. 12,000 miles our trucks have traveled today, and as the Deputy Mayor mentioned, that is for context. We have 375 miles worth of roadway. It's actually that's just a little bit over what we have, and just very proud of the effort of all of our DPW crews, our mechanics, everybody that's involved in scheduling, so on and so forth. Very proud of the effort that we all put in today, and I want to thank our first responders, our police department, our OEM, Charlie Rogers, I was with for the majority of the day today, Tony Mercantante, Ted, Charlie, Deputy Chiefs Kaiser, Stefanski, and Bailey, along with Craig Weber. We're all in the Emergency Operations Center with us today, as with obviously the leadership of Tony Mercantante. So just a great job by everybody. Thank you to the residents of the town. Relatively no one on the road today, which made everyone's life a little bit easier. I ask that you try and help out the fire department, as Committeeman Clark mentioned, removing the snow around fire hydrants 3 feet in all directions, which I believe is the graphic I've seen all day today. So just ask that you assist our fire department in the event of an emergency. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to Heidi and our IT department for obviously it was always been important to me that the residents of town see their government in action at Town Hall, working. today, obviously for the safety of everyone, all of our professionals and all of our staff, all of the members of the Township Committee, we just felt it necessary to go to virtual. So Town Hall will be closed once again tomorrow. So please know that, except for emergency personnel. But I do want to give credit to Tara Burson and our public information, our communications office, for getting those updates that we're constantly seeing out to the public. They've been on the money for the last 48 hours, really getting that information out there. So it's really a team effort, and very grateful to everybody for their part of this. Andrea Verdone Gorsinger, unbelievable. I was over her house on Saturday, and there goes actually one of Ted's trucks right now. So Ted, thank you. I was over her house on Saturday. An amazing effort, absolutely amazing. Over $60,000 raised for pediatric cancer. I was there with our first assistant chief, John Waltz, from the fire department, whose son Brady is currently battling cancer, and good news there that Brady is moving towards his last segment of treatment. And it's interesting because I was talking with John, and he actually brought up Committeeman Clark, and his between John and Committeeman Clark, they have been very closely tied to Infinite Love for Kids battling cancer, to then see it full circle, because I've seen Committeeman Clark with no hair multiple times as he gets his head shaved over at the community firehouse to raise money for pediatric cancer, and that's John's firehouse. So it was just an unbelievable effort to see everything, her children that were involved, her husband Dan, and to ride a Peloton for 24 straight hours, and to have such support around the community, around the state. There were over 200 people who joined her on the initial ride at 9:30. And I do have to give my deputy mayor credit, who jumped on the bike for 1 minute longer, any minute more than I did. He was on there for a good amount of time, and I give him a lot of credit for joining that, and many people across the Middletown community for going on. So I just want to thank all of you once again for your efforts today, for your efforts over the last 48 hours, for keeping this meeting on the agenda today. Because one thing that I do want to bring up, and then I'll close, was one of the resolutions we passed today was a submission of an application to the Board of Public Utilities for participation in New Jersey's Community Solar Program pilot. This is the second year. This application will provide Middletown the potential to put a solar canopy over at the train station parking lot. And we were talking a lot about runoff and the environmental impacts of that. And, the very exciting part to this submission is our ability to be able to cut down on our electric bills at the power that it would save us, and the power that we would be able to potentially provide low income housing around the town by the generation of energy there. So we have to submit this application by February 5th. We have our folks working on that. I want to thank Tony Mercantante and Brian Nelson for putting that together so quickly. We were really moving. So Brian, thank you for your efforts there in getting that together. So with that being said, I'll open it up for public comments, as Heidi mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. If you'd like to make a public comment, please state your name and address for the record. You do have to use that raised hand feature. I see that we just have one call-in user, so we'll go to those joining us via WebEx first. If any member of the public would like to make a public comment, please use the raised hand feature. And again, we ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes and that you, again, state your name and address for the record. With that being said, any member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Heidi, I'm not seeing anybody. Tell me if I'm...
No, I don't see anyone.
All right, and if we just want to ask, if we just want to go to the phones real fast and see if that individual would like to make a public comment.
Okay. Would you like to make a comment?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, one more time, if anybody joining us via WebEx would like to make a public comment, please use the raised hand feature. Seeing no members of the public stepping forward to make a public comment, move to close the public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Committeeman Clark?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedembrino?
Yes.
Committeewoman Snell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel?
Yes.
Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great night.